we're back with a new season, guys. How long am I going to last this season? How long am I going to last? I think last season it was definitely less than 10 games. I want to say it was less than 10 games. Let's see if we last a bit longer this season. Will Liverpool piss me off sooner rather than later? I have no idea. Newcastle versus Liverpool preview. Let's just get into it, man. So yeah, man. Listen, look, I'm not gonna be here for a very, very long time. Yeah. Newcastle first game of the season away at St. James's Park, especially Liverpool as well. Yeah, with everything that's surrounding Liverpool and Newcastle over the last couple of seasons. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be definitely an entertaining game. Two new managers as well. Newcastle getting in their new manager after sacking. I say sacking or Eddie Howe left. I don't actually, know the situation there. I've not watched any of their preseason games, so I'm not going to sit here and try and lie to you in terms of, oh yeah, they play like I have no idea how they're going to play. I'm going to say quite similar to the way that Eddie Howe had them kind of set up, maybe a little bit smarter in certain phases of the game. But yeah, until I've really had a look at their games this season, I don't really have too much, would I say, somewhat analysis, maybe on the players themselves. I think that part is obviously a little bit easier because I've seen a lot of their players already, and the kind of threats that they pose. But yeah, when we're talking about, in terms of the style and stuff like that, I'm going to be very intrigued. Actually, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how Newcastle look, under the new manager. And listen, look, they build this as, Isak returning to St. James's Park, the traitor. It's already kind of started. I think I saw Liverpool players going in to, was it like the hotel, I think it was, before the game and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be hostile. I can tell you that for free. So yeah, Isak's just got to know and understand that. Yeah, as long as he can get through that, I think he'll be fine. Whether he does, I have no idea. I don't know how the other players are going to take to him. Luckily, Bruno Guimaraes ain't there, because if he was there, yeah, it would have been a little bit darker, I feel, anyway, in the game. But when we're looking at Liverpool, obviously, look, I'm not gonna lie and say about pre-season. I don't really take much stock in pre-season. I don't really care. To be honest with you, Liverpool are playing a similar style that I've seen before anyway, so nothing really new. Obviously newer than last season in terms of the intent of the team. I know the fitness isn't really good with the team for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter. It's still not good. Whether it'll be good enough, against Newcastle, we'd have to, of course, wait and see. And I think with the way that Iraola wants to kind of play, I feel like, yeah, he this season anyway, he is banking on the fitness more than anything else. Obviously, you need the quality players. Obviously you need your players like Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isaks, Szoboszlai, Van Dijk, Alisson's, people of that kind of ilk. You need these guys to obviously perform like any team, kind of would. But yeah, he's really banking on that fitness, and obviously we've seen Liverpool's squad depth already. We know it's atrocious, to be honest with you. So yeah, he really will need that first team to be readily available. And then if they can obviously work themselves towards, as best of fitness that they can possibly get, you never know. You really never know. Obviously, we've seen a couple of the results already. Spurs losing 3-0, who was it? Man United losing 2-0, two results I definitely didn't see, especially from two teams that I've placed pretty high. So kind of making me look stupid. But listen, we're here anyway, man. It is what it is. So yeah, Liverpool just need to really go there and just kind of do their job. It's one of them tricky games because it's the first game, on top of it being hostile ground with everything that's going to be going on, not even related to what's on the pitch in itself, so to speak, in terms of players and, stuff like that. And two new managers as well. They might just be feeling the game in itself. Who knows, right? Who knows? So yeah, with everything that, I feel like this is one of them games where it'll be great to see something from Liverpool, and that's obviously what I want to see this season. I think that's where I'm at, with Liverpool at this moment in time. Is I just want to see good football. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I understand it can't come always in the form that I necessarily like it, but it can still be enjoyable, somewhat to watch. And it hasn't been for about 3 or 4 years where I've watched Liverpool and just thought it's not really, it's not really fun to watch, kind of thing, for one reason or another. So I'm hoping Iraola can, obviously bring that, to Liverpool, heading into the heading into the season, man. So we'd have to wait and see in regards to that. But let's take a look at like the little like head to heads and stuff like that, little form from the preseason before I then give you my predicted lineup and then I'll give you my score prediction. All right, let's take a look at this. So obviously, this is obviously the injured players from what they're putting up at the moment. Obviously, they've got Livramento injured, massive miss. Joe Linton, massive miss. Dan Burn, we don't know if he's going to start, and Lewis Miley as well. We don't know if he's going to be fit. But yeah, Livramento and Dan Burn. Well, Livramento and Joe Linton more so. Dan Burn, if they put the team out that I think they'll put out, and we'll take a quick look at what a predicted lineup might look like for both teams. Yeah, those two are going to be massive miss, especially Joe Linton in the middle of the park. He would be someone that I feel that they probably do need. But if Newcastle go with the lineup that's predicted, I'm going to show you my predicted lineup. Obviously for Liverpool, Bradley still injured, Leone, yeah, Gomez, nothing new, Bajcetic, nothing new. Obviously we know about Ekatike already, so none of them important enough to worry. Liverpool don't. Ekatike would obviously be the major one, but I still think Isak would have started anyway. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with those two once Ekatike is fully fit. But yeah, I definitely think Newcastle will be hit more by their injuries, just because I don't really think maybe Bradley potentially would have started at right back if he was fit. But yeah, if not him, then I don't think anyone else is that big of a miss. Head to head, well, team form, should I say. Newcastle only won one game. It's crazy. I'm looking at it now. Newcastle only won one game. Liverpool only won 2 games. So not the greatest of pre-seasons from both teams, if I'm being totally honest with you. Newcastle, I'd say worse because they've lost 3 to Liverpool's 2. Again, like I said, I've not watched their preseason to know did they swap this player. I mean, they lost 4-1 to Bristol City. I can't give context to that. You know what I mean? Newcastle fans, you'd have to bloody well tell me. Obviously, Liverpool, I know they've rotated a bit, but still got 2 defeats in that time frame. Scored a few goals, but in their victories, 1 and 2, is that maybe a sign, heading into the season? So yeah, let's look at like the predicted lineups. This is what they've put out, right? And obviously I'll give you mine. For Newcastle, new goalkeeper, obviously, was that Hornacek? That is a very interesting name. Dedic, who's a very good player. I'm very intrigued to see what he looks like this season. Malik Tau as well, very good player, AC Milan, former AC Milan player, should I say. Sorry, Botman, I've always rated him. I thought he's really, really good. Lewis Hall, arguably now with Cucurella gone, maybe is he potentially the best left back in the league? Remains to be seen. Let's kind of see how that goes. Bamba, this is a player quite a few people have spoken about. I've not watched him, so I don't know, but I've heard people talk about him and they seem to like him. So I'm another player I'm intrigued to see. Jacob Ramsey, is he gonna show the early Aston Villa form, that he kind of had, coming through, and everyone was like, yo, this guy's gonna be the next one, and he's kind of stagnated a little bit. You know what I mean? Obviously, he got his move to Newcastle, fair enough. But yeah, yes, he has stagnated. He's a bit of a weird one. Barnes and Elanga on the wings. Barnes, I feel like you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to be a threat. He's going to try things. He's going to try and cut in and shoot. He's kind of got that on lock. Some maybe Gatpo should learn, from him, because I feel like he's kind of got that part of his game on lock. So whoever plays down that right-hand side for Liverpool, definitely going to need to pay attention. Elanga, rapid. Really don't want this guy, through in on goal. I think they're going to have to try and use him, I think, this season quite a bit. Just that pace. That pace is so frightening if they can get him in on goal. And especially because I feel like on his day, he's one of them players who can be very, very dangerous. But then he has a lot of games where he's just there. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not his pace, what else does he kind of bring, to the team? And I think that's something that maybe potentially Newcastle, will need to look at. And then you got Vissa. They put him here they got 4-2-3-1. They put him here behind the striker, Osula. Vissa, we know what Vissa's about. He's a good player, very, very good player. Definitely a player I would have signed, not for that price. But I would have thought about signing him if he was a lot cheaper. But he's, again, very, very good player, had a decent World Cup with Congo. And then Osula, he's a very unorthodox striker. Very unorthodox. Like, I don't know how to take to him. Like, I don't know if you're good. I don't think you are, to be honest with you. But you have something about you that makes me think, all right, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we'd have to kind of wait and see in regards to that. And in Liverpool's 11, they've gone with Kirkes, Van Dijk, Xhaka, and Frimpong. Let's see if those are the four. Obviously, Ali in goal, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, kind of the team I think everyone thinks and probably is the team that he probably will go with. I'm not gonna let's put it this way. I'm not gonna be surprised if he puts this team out. Do you get what I mean? Like I don't think it's gonna be one of those where you're like, oh my god, like he did this, kind of thing. So yeah, we'd have to kind of wait and see. But like I said, it's an interesting game because they haven't got, as you can see, they don't have the Tenalis, the Guimaraes, the Joe. It's a new midfield as well. So are they going to operate differently? That midfield was very brute like. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's got its quality on the ball. Tonali and Guimaraes, they're very good on the ball anyway. So it gives them that little bit of a sprinkle dust, but they were kind of more just enforcers more than anything. If it is Bamba and Ramsey as an example, what does that kind of look like? Vissa is more of a striker. So are they going to go more of a 4-4-2 kind of thing with Vissa almost literally playing right behind him, but then not dropping into the midfield? What does that then mean? Can Liverpool overload the midfield? I think that might be potential, again, depending on who they decide to play. I think that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a real interesting watch. Let me show you my 11. Let's go with my 11. So hopefully you guys can obviously see that. So yeah, I've gone with that 11. I don't like the 4-2-3-1 anyway, but 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, it really it's on the rolls, right? Now, obviously, I'm going to be a lot more harsher with Liverpool anyway, right? I don't really care about Newcastle, like the City, but yeah, I don't really care about them. But yeah, with Liverpool, so I've gone with obviously Frimpong at right back. There is no one else I could think of. Araujo and Virgil with Kerkez in at left back. I've gone with Araujo because I think, obviously, I don't know what Liverpool are trying to do next season. Maybe they're not thinking that far ahead. I don't really know. I would just prefer to have that cohesion, two experienced players, two captains. Well, Araujo, obviously a captain at Barcelona. Listen, Araujo, he's good. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's all right. He's all right. Do you get what I mean? Like, did he fit Barca? I don't think so. I think the way Barcelona play, and we know how they play, he isn't necessarily suited to that. In itself, they need defenders who are ultra comfortable, with the ball at their feet, close to the goal and stuff like that. But what he does offer, I feel, can work in the Premier League because the Premier League isn't known for its technicality. He hasn't got like brilliant players on the ball here kind of thing. It is more about, are you fast? Are you physical? That will go a long way. Not to say they don't have any, it will just go a long way, right? So that's why I've gone with Araujo. I think if those two can form a partnership and have someone like Xhaka coming in every now and again, for me, that kind of works. Xhaka is still kind of working his way back to some form of fitness as well. So yeah, I prefer to go with Araujo, but I know a lot of people are going to go with Jeremy Xhaka. In midfield, that's the interesting one. Obviously, I think most people, and even the predicted lineup, went with Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. I've gone with Trey and Szoboszlai instead. I think Szoboszlai has to always play. I think Liverpool's midfield dies without him in there at least. And listen, the midfield ain't good enough anyway. And now they're man down with Curtis Jones obviously leaving. McAllister, I don't know. I really don't know if he's fit enough or not. Clearly, he's going to play some part, I feel. But yeah, I would be going with Szoboszlai 100%. And then one other in that kind of midfield. So I've gone with Trey. I just think, again, you might need someone who's going to be, again, comfortable. Can you play under pressure? Can you play with the calmness? I know it probably sounds harsh, but sometimes you got to just throw people in at the deep end. Let's see what you're about. Let's see what you're on. Do you get what I mean? Like, we're never going to really know how good you are until you just play. Gravenberch, I'm just kind of tired of him anyway. And I don't feel like I need what he brings kind of thing in a game like this. If I'm being totally honest with you, I think Trey's calmness in the middle of the park, where it's probably going to be quite chaotic, I feel like that could work for Liverpool. Again, I'm not going to argue if you say Gravenberch because that would make perfect sense. The attack, I feel like it just kind of fills itself out. Like, who else is going to play? Liverpool don't have any other players to play anyway. So Gakpo, Rio on the wings, Isak, and then obviously Florian Wirtz. Again, you're going to see a lot of my lineups, and he's not going to be in all of them. Because I don't, again, a bit like Vissa with the predicted lineup, you're not a player that's going to necessarily come back in and help in that kind of way. I also don't need you to press in this game in the way that you have been pressing this preseason, from what people have kind of said and the little bits that I've seen. I don't need him and Isak doing the press. I'd rather him just drop back into the midfield, because I just feel like once he does stuff like that, it does leave, Liverpool quite vulnerable, if I'm being, super honest with you. So yeah, for me, it just makes, in my opinion, again, really, I don't know how these first games are going to go. After watching freaking United and that lose, I said, you know what, let's just scratch this season. You know what I mean, in itself. But yeah, so what I mean is, yeah, obviously during the preseason, I would kind of say you're seeing like whoever's got the ball, whether it be the centre back or the goalkeeper, it's kind of always like Isak and Verts and stuff like that. My issue with stuff like this is that, say you've kind of got this semi situation kind of going on, these two are always going to be, let's push these two up actually. I feel like obviously you're not going to come up against footballing teams all the time, right? And that's fair. I get that part. My issue stems more from, I don't think it always needs to even necessarily be a footballing team that then does Liverpool in, so to speak. I do think it's quite basic the way that teams seem to be just able to get in, at times, because all it really takes is just kind of that. And ultimately, you've almost taken out like all of these guys. And that's all I ever see. So, yes, we can cuss Gravenberch. Yes, we can cuss McAllister, Sobozalai, Curtis Jones when he was here, and whoever else, right? The problem you've got though is that this, and obviously what I saw anyway, against Como, when they had the number 10 there, Batterina, and I can't remember the other guy that they had, all he kept doing was just feeding the ball into here. And like Liverpool's like midfield was kind of like this, almost kind of thing, right? Not an exact replica, but it was almost like, let's push a few of these players up. It was almost like that. So when the centre back would get the ball here, you can imagine obviously him just and that's it. That's all he was doing. Like literally, yeah, Liverpool might be, of course, pushed up a bit and all of that kind of stuff, whatever. But just imagine this in the game. That's all they would do. It was nothing. Listen, Como are a very good team. They're a very good footballing team, right? And I'm not suggesting that Newcastle are as good at football as they are, but I see this from a lot of teams. And to me, I'll be like, yeah, as long as you can, Liverpool kind of got like a box in the way that they kind of press anyway. So as long as you can kind of get this, that's kind of fine. So I don't really want Verts almost doing that role. I kind of want him to, almost stay in these kind of positions. If I'm being totally honest, I know it looks like, oh, you got Trey left on his own and stuff like that. Listen, guys, you know me already. I don't care about the DM position. I don't need someone who's freaking combating in there. It'll be nice if there's one out there like a Tonali, like a Bruno Guimaraes, or them kind of players. Yeah, great, but clearly we couldn't get those. So just trying to think of what we can potentially use with what we've got. And yeah, I just look at it and just think, yeah, I don't really need that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really need Verts doing that at all. I'm good with the front three doing it. What Liverpool do need to do though is there needs to be better. The word I'm looking for, cohesion, maybe is the word I'm looking for, between the entire team. If they're going to be doing stuff like this, I know N spoke about this as well, a very, very good video, and he spoke about, Szoboszlai going and not really, leaving Gravenberch, kind of by himself. I blame the entire team though, and obviously, ultimately, I blame the coach. You're not having the whole team do it though. Top teams: Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich, Arsenal. Watch Arsenal against Coventry again. Watch Arsenal against Manchester City. It's a team effort. It's not one player. It's not Declan Rice. It's not Zubimendi when he comes on the pitch. It's not Bruno Guimaraes. They do it in a team. They hunt as a pack. Liverpool do not do that. Verts will go off and do his own kind of press. Guess what? He's now fucked off, and now there's this massive gap. So Bozalai does the exact same thing. Fucks off, does his own thing. Everyone's doing their own thing. There needs to be a cohesion. There needs to be a team effort when you're doing this. That's why Liverpool looks so vulnerable. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily all down, and I say that loosely, right? I don't think it's all down to the players themselves in terms of the personnel of said players, right? I do think a lot of this comes down to the structure in the way that Liverpool are trying to do certain things. You're not doing it as a team. Jurgen Klopp, when Mane, Salah, Firmino, when they all press, guess who's right behind them? Jordan Henderson or a James Milner, a Gini Wijnaldum. Guess who's then backing them up? You've got Trent, Robbo on the wings. They are right there. Fabinho there, for example. They're right there. It's done as a team. It's a team effort. Liverpool don't do that. It's all individual pressing and stuff like that. That's what kills Liverpool, like in terms of in transition and stuff like that. So I need to see more of that. And I think that's when structurally you'll look better. Then you can start plotting in the players that anybody wants, whether it's Kone, whether it's Wharton, whether it's this guy. If you don't do that, Vitinha would look shit in this midfield. obviously look the best of a shit bunch, but that's all it'll be, the best of a shit bunch. Like Sobo last season, oh, you're the best of a crap bunch. How long can that keep you? Like, like, do you think that does well in the future? Like, I don't really know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to work for me. So, yeah, that's what I feel I need to see more of from Liverpool going forward. And I think if I see that, yeah, then I think Liverpool could be fine. I think Liverpool can be fine. It just kind of really depends on how that goes. But listen, it's the first game of the season, man. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Score prediction. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna go 1-1. Yeah, I'm just gonna go 1-1. I think both teams will be calm. Well, Newcastle will definitely be calm with that. I think Liverpool will be fine with that. If you said in the season you're gonna draw against Newcastle away, still having to play them at home, I feel like that would be kind of fine. So yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1 for this game. Don't know about goal scorers. Maybe Isak. Isak scores first. How about that? Isak to score first and Wissa to score. How about that? How about that guy to replace him? Yeah, or maybe Voltomard if he starts or he comes off the bench and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be intrigued to know. I'll be intrigued to know what you guys think in the comment section about the game. You're looking forward to it. Like, who do you want to see? Give me your predicted lineups as well. Do you hate mine, like mine, whatever? But yeah, I'm very, very intrigued to know. And yeah, I'll be watching the game. And then after the game, I'll do a match reaction. And then we'll potentially do an analysis as well. So make sure you stay tuned, stay locked in. And I will catch you guys real soon.